what is the change that we will make for these parameters to be passed to these classes? Okay. I want you to understand that whenever you create an object, whenever you say ob1 ob1 is equal to home electricals, whenever you create an object, if there is nothing in the class, just an object will be created without anything, without any problems. But if there is a method called as init method, okay, this method will be called by default. This method is called by default when an object is created itself. That means when I say ob1 is equal to home electricals, when I create this object 1, at this minute itself, the minute I create an object of home electricals, an init method from home electricals, this particular method, every function inside a class is called as a method. This method itself will be called when I call home electricals or when I create an object itself. Let's understand how. Let me say print, an object is created. An object is created. Okay. So now if I say ob1 is equal to home electricals, okay, it will give me an error. What is the error? The error is it's saying init takes 0 positional arguments but 1 was given. Which means when I created this, it did not give me an error over here. It did not give me any error. But now it is giving me an error. What is the error? Boss, init is being called. It is telling you when you set this particular line, init was being called, but init, this guy, he takes 0 positional arguments. There is no arguments for init. No. But you gave 1. When you did this, you gave 1 argument. Oh, I gave 1 argument? No, I didn't give any argument. And it is not taking any argument. It should have not shown me an error. No. There is an argument which is being given that you cannot see. What is the argument? The argument is this object itself, this particular object or this reference to this particular object, this object, whenever it calls any method of a class, whenever any method or any function inside a class is being called by an object, this object is calling this particular method. Whenever the object calls, what happens is that object passes its own reference. It passes its own address, its own reference it passes as one of the parameters in the init method. The own reference of object 1 is passed as one of the parameters in the init method. Hence, you need to take that parameter into a variable every time you define a method inside a class. Are you able to understand? Yes. So, the object itself, okay, the object is passed in as one of the parameters in the init method. Hence, you need to take that into a variable called as self. Hope that is clearly understood. Now, I'll run this. Now, when I run this and when I say ob1 is equal to home electricals, it says an object is created. I can also, if you want, I can also say over here print self. What will self print? It will print the reference which ob1 is pointing out to, right? So if I create ob2, it will say an object is created, right? Of course, it didn't print anything out there now because ob2 doesn't have anything for now. So it is not printing that, but it says, oh, sorry, I didn't run this 1 second. So I create this hobby2. It will print an object is created, and it says self is nothing but the object, the home electricals object, which is at address this, which is at reference this. So self is nothing but it is passing itself. Hope you understand that. Is that very clear? All right. So self, that object, self means that particular object, that is OB1. Now comes the question. This OB1, which is passed over here, needs to be given a particular attribute, right? Let's say, for example, when I create OB1, okay, I'm going to create OB1. I want to, instead of passing, instead of just calling it like this, I want to pass that OB1 is nothing but what did I create OB1 as? A bulb. A bulb. It is used for lighting. And the price is around $2. What does it say? Init is taking only one positional argument, but how many you gave? 4. One is of course the object itself. The object itself is passing itself as the first argument. The rest of these, 3 of them are also being passed. You are passing these 3 arguments in which method? Init. The minute you create, you are calling the init method, but this init is taking only one argument. But how many you passed? 1, that is your object, plus 3, total 4. So it takes only 1, but you gave 4. So I need to redefine the method here. I need to say, instead of just self, I need to take the other 3 parameters also. What are the other 3 parameters? Let's say the name, let's say some usage, usage, and let me say next is the cost. 3 things. I take them into 3 variables. So I can print, if you want, I can print the name, the usage, and the cost. I can print the name, usage, and the cost. Okay, save it and let me run it. So let me create OB1 home electricals. An object is created and it printed it, bulb, lighting, and it created it. But object is created, parameters are passed, arguments are created, but is attribute for OB1 created? Let's see OB1 dot underscore underscore dict underscore underscore. What is this giving? It is an empty dictionary. Have I actually, are these arguments or are these parameters being stored as attributes of object 1? No. They are just being passed to the init method. And you are just taking them in 3 different variables. But have you associated these variables? Have you associated these as attributes of this object? No, you haven't done that. You haven't done that. You need to do that in the init method. How will you do it? You will say, I'll just comment this out. Over here I will say, I have the object in the init method, by the way. What is the object? Self. That is the object. The OB1 is nothing but it passes itself, so that is where it is there in the self. Now I can say self.name, just like how I had created OB1.name. I can create self.name is equal to name, self.use is equal to whatever is the usage variable. Self.price can be equal to the cost, that which you passed. Are you able to understand? Now if I save it and if I run this, it says, if I say OB1 is equal to home electricals, it says an object is created. Now let me see what is my OB1 dot underscore underscore dict. It says, yes, the use is lighting, price is 2, and the name is bulb. Can I create OB2 also, which is also going to be home electricals? This time it is going to have a name of AC. Usage is going to be cooling. And cost is going to be, let's say, $200. Right? An object is created. So you have an OB2. So you have, again, you can also see OB2 dot underscore underscore dict underscore underscore. Again, you have AC, price, and use. Correct? You can access them anytime you want. OB2 dot name. What is the name of the object 2? That is AC. So you pass them when you created itself, right? And you can also say, you can create an OB3 which can be a fan. So that also I will create it up. Let's say OB3 is equal to home electricals. I'm going to say fan, which is going to be $10. And the name is, before the pricing comes the usage, right? Again, this is for cooling again, but right, an object is created. Is that clear? So these are the things that you have done up till now. Now, we need to understand a little more when it comes to classes and objects, which we will learn.